Hey everybody. Do you ever find the physical world a little boring, a bit too predictable? Ever wish you could just peace out and unplug from the matrix? Have you ever wondered what's really beyond the veil, past the edge of the physical and mental barriers? This is Isho, bringing you another fantastic product: aware, conscious, mental, astral projection. Yes, that's right. You can step out of your body using nothing but your mind. Wow. In this episode, we're diving deep into how to unlock way more than just 20% of your brain's potential. We'll explore mental projection into both the remote etheric and the vivid astral planes. Before we can truly grasp the different realms, we have to lay the foundation, understanding the physical, etheric, and astral layers of reality. For those new to the topic, it can be a bit confusing, so my goal is to break it down as simply as possible. The physical realm, that is the material world, made up of vibrating atoms and particles that feel solid and real to our senses. It's the world we're born into, the one we perceive with our physical eyes, and it's bound by time, which seems to flow forward subjectively. The etheric realm, this is your mental projection, a reflection of how you remember and perceive the physical world. It's like a shadowy, sometimes gloomy echo of reality. Objects look similar, familiar, but slightly off. Here, you can travel through the backroom corridors of existence, face through walls, fly, walk, and even visit known locations on Earth. The practice of entering this realm is known as an O.B.E, out of body experience. The astral realm, its layer looks similar to the etheric, but with key differences. It's not always dark or distorted, sometimes it's bright, vivid, or even surreal. Your bedroom might not exist here in the same way, instead, you will find places shaped by your inner mind, dreams, memories, and subconscious landscapes. This is the lower astral. The higher astral includes realms beyond normal dreaming, the higher mind of the all, divine archetypes, and universal blueprints. Think the Akasha, heaven, the halls of Amenti, or Shambhala. Now that we've laid out the map, let's go deeper. Let's explore how ancient teachings, mystery schools, and even modern experiences reveal more about each of these dimensions. When using the mind to travel, one essential practice is meditation, particularly mindful awareness and vipassana style techniques. Learning how to ground yourself, relax deeply, and shift attention mentally rather than physically is key. This skill is developed over time, and as it strengthens, incorporating etheric or astral journeys into your meditation will also enhance both your practice and your inner understanding. When we begin to fall asleep and dream, the mind already engages an automatic process for navigating inner landscapes. It's quite common, whether you're aware of it or not, to face into the etheric realm during the early stages of dreaming. This often begins in the same room you fell asleep in or in a space familiar to you. We can intentionally access this realm in a similar way. Think of a place where you recently left your shoes or personal belongings. Try to recall it, the objects, the lighting, the placement of things. If you can visualize that space clearly in your mind, you are already tapping into the etheric layer, the mental projection of the physical. This is the first step towards conscious dreaming, or what some might call daydreaming, where the mind's canvas and the third eye begin to visualize from a non physical perspective. Of course, not everyone finds this easy. Some people experience aphantasia, where mental imagery is difficult or nearly impossible to form. If that's the case, start simple. Try visualizing basic numbers, 1, 2, 3, and move them around mentally. Over time, with patience, you'll begin to fine tune that inner screen. For the sake of this video, we'll move forward assuming you have some foundational familiarity with these practices. After someone enters the dream state or is consciously using their telescope, the mind's projection ability, they can begin to explore several distinct layers of non physical reality. One usual reference is the astral map developed by the Monroe Institute. Using it as a base template, we see multiple avenues opening once a person is no longer fully anchored in physical awareness. We begin at the bottom, conscious wakefulness. From there, we might travel along one of four paths: the meditative path, the drowsy path, the dream path, or the state of being awake while continuing to dream. Let's use an example. A person achieves a state often referred to as mind awake, body asleep, sometimes called wild, wake induced lucid dreaming. From there, they enter into what describes as vast blackness or 3D blackness, also known as the void. This is often then the transitional space before entering a fully conscious phasing experience. Phasing, in most cases, happens unconsciously, the dream path. Here, one falls asleep and transition into the dreaming state without awareness. If lucidity is gained within the dream, one might experience false awakenings or find themselves ejected from the dream world into another layer. If your mind can access a memory from your life, current or past, that memory can become the foundation for a dream, a lucid dream, or a kind of training zone awareness. The mind can simulate, re experience, or even modify events that have happened. This can be accessed consciously through meditation simply by remembering. This is where some discover their astral home, their mental palace, or their so called happy place. While not part of the higher astral realms, these spaces can imitate or reflect aspects of them, creating personal zones that blend memory, imagination, and the lower astral layer into a cohesive inner environment. The higher astral realms aren't shown on most standard models, including the Monroe Institute's astral map, but in alchemy, they represent a state of spiritual refinement, peering beyond the veil of physical existence. Here, we enter the realm of the spiritual gold individual, the one who has been transmuted, refined, and awakened as a free spirit, lucid and aware, capable of perceiving realities beyond words. Unlike the lower astral, which is often linked to personal memories, dreams, or subconscious material, the higher astral is more impersonal, a realm of spirit, not story. It's not about your life, but your essence. It is where your awareness touches the divine and the universal, where your soul journeys between incarnations or finds glimpses of higher truth and origin. Many people enter this space unexpectedly through near death experiences, spontaneous awakenings, or powerful dream states. They describe visions of heaven, past lives, encounters with guides, ancestors, or even moments outside linear time, glimpses into both the future and the past. These moments leave a deep impression because they come from beyond the scope of individual memory. They emerge from the collective astral, or what some might call the superconscious. Here we find the astral plane in its purest form, the Akashic records, the halls of Amenti, a space of deep learning, the cities of light, higher etheric civilizations, the void, pure potential, past life realms and karmic memory fields, the Zen garden, inner stillness made manifest, heaven, and in many forms, the river of souls, the edge of time, and the fabric of the universe. These higher realms are abstract, otherworldly, and archetypical. They feel less constructed and more primordial, a direct link between the individual and the divine matrix. They are often shaped by symbolic language, yet perceived with clarity beyond the ego. Each realm offers new insight, from deep personal realization to eternal truths about existence. Many who reach these planes speak of contact with Source, or what some traditions call God. Others describe a flowing connection through the crown chakra, a bridge to Kether, the highest point on the tree of life. Here, the spirit becomes active, able to move, create, speak, learn, and even manifest completely new realities from intention alone. In ancient and esoteric teachings, the ascent of the soul from the physical into the higher realms has been symbolized across cultures and systems. It is the tree of life in Kabbalah, Jacob's ladder, the Jed pillar of Osiris, the Solomonic pillars of Boaz and Yachin in Freemasonry and in Old Judaic Kabbalah, All of these echo a singular path, the sacred climb from matter to spirit. This middle path can also be seen in Buddhism, Kundalini Yoga, and the Staff of Hermes in Hermeticism. Each tradition reflects a variation of the same inner journey, the soul's alchemical ladder to transcendence. Consciousness, in this view, is the soul incarnated in the physical body, but it is also the traveler, the journeyman. It can peer outward through the physical eyes or inward to access deeper dimensions beyond the veil. The Kabbalah of Jewish mysticism is just one of many frameworks for this inner journey. Its roots arguably stretch back to Hermetic and Egyptian traditions, particularly the teachings preserved in the Emerald Tablets. In advanced Buddhism, the astral is described through complex internal structures and thought forms, such as Indra's net, a multidimensional lattice resembling higher astral frameworks. In Hinduism, we find the Kundalini serpent rising through the lotus petals of the chakras. In Rosicrucianism, it becomes the rose on the cross, another allegory of inner spiritual flowering. These systems share common parables and mystical goals, though each brings its own nuance, born from different languages, cultures, and epochs. Some traditions focused on the outer archetypes, gods, angels, rulers. Others emphasize the esoteric path, the soul's journey toward illumination and freedom. Not every kingdom or institution wanted the masses to access spiritual liberation, and some choose to dominate through fear, sacrifice, war, and death. Yet, even in these shadowed expressions, we find metaphor: death as transformation, darkness as initiation. The soul that has faced its own ego death emerges as something new, the one who has seen from the outside into the inside begins to awaken. A coma is a forced sleep. What then does the dreaming self experience while untethered? In that suspended state, consciousness may be navigating the astral, dreaming without the body, and returning to life as a phoenix from the ashes. Here, ideas like reincarnation take on new depth. The astral becomes a terrain for the sleeping, the dead, and the soon to be reborn. And here we meet the Merkabah, the chariot of light, a vehicle not weighed down by form or ego, the limitless traveler, the awakened one, moving through the dimensions with a golden compass, platinum tools, and a mind unshackled from physical perception. Perhaps this is what we mean by God, not a being, but a witnessing intelligence. Or perhaps it's all just a branch on the olive tree, or the olive itself, timeless, spiraling across nonlinear dimensions. When we dream, time bends. 8 hours of sleep may feel like 3 hours in the dream, or vice versa. The astral changes the rules. Perception bends, duality dissolves. And then, boom, you are enlightened. At this point in your journey, you may have glimpsed the layers, the multi-worlds, the timelines, parallel universes, the bubbles in Indra's net, the marbles of the omniverse. These are the building blocks of God, the structures and principles beyond the veil of ordinary perception. While the higher dimensions may remain veiled to our waking mind, metaphysics whispers back to us, hinting at what lies just beyond reach. In more modern terms, we might say that consciousness exhibits quantum properties, carries philosophical implications, and behaves like some kind of light condensed into slow vibration. It's held together by nuclear forces, atoms as glue, and bound by physical laws. Our body, the vehicle, perceives this world through the cross of the senses, 5 inputs wired through a self aware brain, dreaming, remembering, imagining. That dream ability alone implies something deeper, a consciousness not bound by the physical but awareness of itself. Consciousness appears to be universal. All living beings display awareness in some form. We are spiritual mammals, souls temporarily housed in bodies. And now, the great irony. Modern philosophy and quantum science have begun circling back to the same conclusions ancient sages spoke of. Where metaphysics was once scorned, it's now being reconsidered through the lens of quantum immortality, many worlds theory, and non-locality. The idea that all is one, the peak of both mystical realization and philosophical inquiry, has returned. People report shifting timelines, alternate memories. Did Mandela die in prison? Was it Berenstain or Berenstein? Fruit Loops or Fruity Loops? Are these just false memories, miswitnessing, or evidence of consciousness peeking through parallel timelines? And then deja vu strikes, a glitch in perception, the moment you know something has happened before but it hasn't, two timelines overlapping, or a memory falling in on itself. Online, people claim to be from alternate lives, alternate worlds. These experiences may be anecdotal, but taken collectively, they seem to point toward both reincarnation and the multiverse as compatible truths. Not everyone dives deep. Many skim the surface, get caught in semantics, but the interplay between waking and dreaming states, consciousness phasing in and out, hints at something more. Skeptics and scientists argue that these are subjective hallucinations, DMT induced visions created by the brain's natural chemical dimethyltryptamine. But even that proves the point. Our brains are equipped with the biological tools to access visionary states. What is meditation if not the willful release of these inner capacities? Dreaming while awake, seeing with the third eye. But aren't we already dreaming? Each day passes like a lucid dream. We watch, we react, we float between tasks as if tethered to another reality. To the spirit, this world may be the dream, and the dream may be more real than the day. To make sense of this, we must compare deductive reasoning, cross cultural study, and personal experience all converge. Subjective experiences don't cancel objective truth, they just show different facets of it. From a spiritual lens, there is only one spirit, incarnating, observing, remembering. Karma makes sense here as a reflection between mirrors of consciousness. The golden rule, 2, do unto others as you would have them do unto you, is not moral advice, but metaphysical law. We are one. What we do to another, we do to ourselves. The ancient sages knew this. They saw that the golden rule wasn't just about ethics, it was also about unity, about evolving into beings worthy of spiritual technology, tools, and truths. And perhaps that's what we're doing now, slowly waking up, remembering, becoming. If you're the kind of person who collects tools for the mind, symbols, practices, perspectives, then chances are you're a spiritual individual, maybe even alchemical in nature. You've likely stumbled upon teachings from many paths, resonated with deep truths, and yet found your own language to describe them. Your metaphors may not match the canon, your words might sound unusual to the mainstream, but the dreams, the inner landscapes, the initiations, they're shared, universally known, just described differently. As you move through life and you begin developing skills, not just physical ones, but mental, emotional, and spiritual faculties, and the more you understand your personal path, your past lives, your soul's history, the more you see reality from a different angle. Life becomes a forge, and meditation becomes a fire where the sword is tempered. Discipline, observation, and presence, these becomes your whetstones. Eventually, everything becomes the meditation. You don't just sit and meditate anymore, you live it. Every act, every conversation, every breath becomes part of your spiritual refinement. You are on the journey to uncover your own philosopher's stone. The stone, literal for some, metaphorical for most, is a spiritual symbol of inner transformation. A small one can make a big one, and a big one can make many small stones. A spark of life, a longing for wisdom, a hunger for truth, bound by the paradox of predetermined free will. The dualities of life, good and bad, wise and ignorant, all becomes ingredients in this strange and sacred process. Through deep contemplation and shadow work, you begin to filter it all. The noise, the lies, the distractions, and in that silence, a present begins to appear, not outside, but within. The more perspectives you explore, the more faiths you study, the more spiritual systems you test, the more a singular thread begins to emerge. A hidden intelligence, a silent architect, a living awareness that has been staring back at you the entire time. And that is the kingdom. It's not just a place, it is physical, mental, spiritual, and above all, personal. And as every mystic eventually realizes, as above, so below, as within, so without. So here's some final questions. If the mind can travel beyond the body, what else might it be capable of? Have your dreams ever felt more real than waking life? What separates imagination from astral sight, and are they perhaps one and the same? Is the realm we call reality merely one layer among many, or is this the densest dream of them all? Do memories, visions, and deja vu hint at other lives, other realms, or just mental noise from an awakened soul? If the ancients, mystics, and initiates all described a similar inner journey, why do modern scientists still doubt the map? And if consciousness is not bound by time or space, then who are you really, here and now? Do you think that's air you're breathing now? It's prana, pure energy. Truth can often be stranger than any fiction. The topics we've covered and questions we've explored, and the wonder they stir, are just threads in a much larger, infinite tapestry. Take what resonates with you, explore the unknown, and never stop questioning the answers you've been given. This is Season 3 of 2025. Together we can seek wisdom that reaches beyond the perceived boundaries of a belief.